with ancient Hebrew characters. It was inscribed, 19 lines of writing in minuscule Hebrew characters. The first word which I deciphered at the opening was the name of the Lord. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. This is the private name of God which appears whenever the English version has the word the Lord in the Hebrew Bible. This is the unpronounceable tetragrammaton, the secret name of God.
In the Bible, in 2 Kings 21:4, Yahweh says, "In Jerusalem I will put my name." And in verse 7, Yahweh declares, "In Jerusalem I will put my name forever." So now, amazingly, the name Yahweh has been found archaeologically in an excavation in the city that bears his name.
For the first time, we have the owner of the temple, the dweller of the temple of Jerusalem, found in Jerusalem itself. Later on, we discovered that there are several more appearances of the name of the Lord on that piece of silver.
Not only was there Hebrew writing on these silver scrolls from Ketef Hinnom, but it was realized that what was written on them comes directly from the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament.
Both of them had versions of the priestly benediction, which is mentioned in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26.
The first silver scroll reads, "Bless you, Yahweh, and keep you. May Yahweh shine his face upon you and be gracious to you." And the smaller scroll is translated, "Bless you, Yahweh, and keep you. May shine Yahweh his face upon you and give you peace."
And more than that, the burial customs and the comparative material you have is very clearly evident of First Temple period, beyond any doubt.
The history of Jerusalem is often broken into two time periods, the First Temple period and the Second Temple period. The First Temple period begins when Solomon builds the temple in Jerusalem in the 10th century BC, and it's destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC, which brings the First Temple period to an end. The Second Temple period begins when Zerubbabel rebuilds the temple in Jerusalem, and it is destroyed by the Romans in AD 70. So the Hebrew in the Second Temple period looks different than the earlier Hebrew that's used in the First Temple period. So if we use the name Yahweh as an example, in the Hebrew of the Second Temple period, God's name looks like this. But on the silver scrolls from Ketef Hinnom, it looks like this. The difference is a later form of Hebrew used in the Second Temple period, where the Hebrew found at Ketef Hinnom is an earlier form from the First Temple period. And so this is why the silver scrolls are dated to the First Temple period, and more specifically to the 7th century BC.
This discovery is of the earliest biblical verses ever discovered. They predate the very famous Dead Sea Scrolls by several centuries. So these are the earliest biblical verses. They date back to the 7th century BC, to the time of Prophet Jeremiah, to the time of the Davidic dynasty, to the time that the first temple of Solomon was still standing in Jerusalem.
And so it's really touching to hear Dr. Barkai's story and to realize how deeply significant it is to him personally, this discovery he made in 1979.